our front page, we can quickly delve into data types. So listed along the top here, we have seismic, report, geochem, and dataset. These are just examples at the moment, but when the time comes for launch, we'll have way more, including stuff like geochemistry and geophysics. We've also integrated heavily with the geospatial tool GeoRes Globe, allowing for complex spatial searches of our data. We're also using the front page to bring new or featured datasets to the attention of our users. So to start with, let's do a really basic search for Quambi. So we can just click into the search bar and type Quambi and hit enter. Alternatively, I could have clicked this datasets button up in the ribbon here, and I would have been brought to this page where I could put my search term in the search bar. So these results are what's returned after searching all of the elements of a dataset, from the title all the way down to the locality. We can refine these results with some of the new tools we've built. So the filter categories here on the left, or facets, can be used to refine an existing search or used to build up a new search entirely on their own. So if you came here through the datasets ribbon, you could build a search based solely on these facets. So the facets will build on any other categories you've selected, and they'll narrow themselves down as the search becomes more focused. So these facets presented now are based on the results that we got from Quambi. So there are only reports available for the results and these commodities and these report types. So the facets themselves, they cover stuff like data types. So we discussed those earlier, things like reports, geochemistry, geophysics, commodities, earth science data categories, which is like the base science behind activities. So it covers stuff like palynology, geophysics, that level of detail. Geological features, which covers our map sheets, as well as stratigraphy and structure. Report type, so instead of being the general term report, you could dive into stuff like the coal or mineral report, annual or relinquishment. And then there's also data formats. So we could filter it down based on the data associated with these data sets. So we could limit our results to only those which have CSV files, shape files, or LAS. And then finally, we could filter based on a date or over a date range. So I could just turn on, let's see, we're only interested in reports that have zip files because they've probably got more stuff in them. And then I want them for 2014. So I can just put 2014 and then hit enter, and then my results have been filtered to that year for zip files only. And let's say we are only interested in uranium reports. So I've quickly filtered my results down from 150 to 34, which relates specifically to what I was interested in. So now we're back at the top, we can have a look at this spatial search tool. Well, it's not really a spatial search tool, it's a spatial filter tool. It's by no means meant to replace our GeoRes Globe, but it's built to be a quick way to roughly filter reports based on an area. So this will reset my search, but I can just click on the map and then draw a box and then hit apply. And there are no results for those filters in this area. So if I clear out some of these other filters, like the zip files, we can see that I've got results again, 261 in this area. So those are only for uranium in that area with the date of 2014. So I could clear out this whole search quickly by clicking Datasets, and we can dive into this search bar. So this search bar is our modernization of the old QDEX search fields. We've merged them down into these various selectable search types. So using that drop down, you can see there's a list of available selections, and they range from persistent identifiers to titles or that complex Solr query I was talking about before using the Solr search language. So persistent identifiers are something that we want to bring a bit of focus on. Returning searchers would be familiar with the old company report numbers from QDEX. we're expanding that concept further and adapting it to other data sets such as boreholes and surveys. So if we know exactly what we're looking for, we could search for stuff very specifically. So let's say we were looking for report number CR24077. I could just click on report PID and then enter 24077, and I get exactly that, company report 24077. So if you know what you're looking for, you can dive straight to it. I'm going to reset my search again. So let's take this a step further. Let's use this new advanced search button to add some fields, and we'll build a more detailed query. So we can mix and match search types and combine them with and or logic. So we can search for airborne, and I'll leave that in any attribute or. And then let's look for a specific permit. Let's look for permit ID EPM 4770. And for good measure, 4770. For good measure, let's look for magnetic data as well. And I'll make that an and attribute and that an and attribute. So let's hit search and see what we get. 1,000 results. So that's a bit too many for me, but luckily I can rearrange my search because of this and or logic and get a more refined result. So by bringing airborne down to the bottom, we've brought 2 data sets back. So let's look at this one now that we're here. So I can click into it and go across, and we see that the dataset components are all listed at the top. We've also got this download all and add all to your selected downloads. We'll come back to that in a minute. If we scroll down, we have the details here. So the details are the metadata behind a report. It's the common metadata. There's a lot more behind the scenes, but these are the key attributes that will allow users to quickly assess the report, and then if they need to go into more detail. These are mostly populated during the submission of the dataset through the lodgement portal, which will be covered this afternoon. And in the future, they may be gathered through the actual contents of the dataset submitted by means of machine learning. They're also gleaned through the data type submitted in that data set. So also, all data sets have a spatial boundary. So for tenure-based data sets, this has been clipped to the data to the shape of the tenure at the time of the report. So if your tenure looked different in year 1 to year 2 to year 3, that's reflected in the shape that's associated with that data set. So you don't need to worry about what the shape looked like at the time because it's represented faithfully. This is also how we get our data across to GRS Globe, which is where you could do your complex search and then and actually start your search in GRS Globe and then bring it across to the search portal and refine it here. So if we come back up to the top, we see this download all button, which is quite self-explanatory. It downloads everything in a zip file. Alternatively, I could add individual elements to my download cart. I could preview that as well by clicking on it if it's one of the preview types like PDF or CSV. There's also more details as you click into each of them regarding the collection of that data. So you can see that each of these have a preview of how big they are, which is incredibly useful. But I could add these to my cart if I was interested in them. So I can pick these at random at the moment, and they get added to my cart. And I can go back and look at my other data set and start adding things here as well. And they're all being added to my cart. I could also add everything by coming back out to the search results and clicking this button here. So you saw that little pop-up in the top right, letting me know that I've added stuff to my cart. I could also click on that, or I could also click on the link in the top here, and it brings me to my download cart. You'll see that it's added all of the data set, but only the items I've selected. This is so that you can come back and review what you've selected before you download it. Let's say I didn't want the logging sheets, I could turn them off, or I did want them, I can add them back. I could add the entire data set, and I needed to add the entire data set to unselect it all. You'll see that it didn't actually remove this data set from the window either. That's in case of mistakenly unticking the last thing in the data set. So I can come back and, oh, I actually wanted that, and check the boxes again. Alternatively, you can come down to the bottom and remove everything or add them back using the individual data sets. So you'll see that this calculates the amount of data that's in my cart at the time. So remove, and it's down to 1 megabyte, add everything, and it's back up to 5. So I can click that button and I will get a save target as prompt. Oh, there it is. And I can choose where to save it or just click save. And it downloads to wherever I've chosen it to, and that'll be in a zip file with each of the data sets in its own folder. Alternatively, if it was an incredibly large data set, let's say you wanted all of our seismic data and you were in the hundreds of terabytes range, you could instead request delivery via S3. So clicking this button will remember what's in your cart, and you enter your email address and request an alternate form of delivery to the survey, and it will send the contents of your cart to our helpers in the department. So that's been a quick demonstration of the functional features of the web page itself. The data portal itself also provides an opportunity for developers who want to write code to interact with the data portal to use an API to do so, allowing for an effectively infinite number of ways to query the data.